Hello and welcome to another episode of the Magic Arena Run. Today, we're going to redo episode 44. Number 4 is basically the death number in Chinese, and it was basically kind of dead video in itself. Basically, what happened was I made this video, I posted it out, and then people start telling me, dude, it's 45 minutes of a splash screen. Facepalm. So here I am. I'm redoing the video. I don't have the original video anymore because it was all basically one take. So I guess it gives me another shot. Last time I played through the stock deck, 1 win, 3 losses, not very impressive. So we'll see if another run gives me a better shot. It's still the same stock version, so I'm gonna keep it fair that way. Since you never got to see me actually go through the cards, you only heard me talk about it, kind of like a podcast of sorts. We're going to actually go over the cards one by one. So first, let's make sure, yes, now that's working. You should be seeing me in the deck editor right now. So, first things first, let's talk about Graveyard Bash. This is the mono black version of the, you could say it's a welcome deck of sorts. When you finish the tutorial, this is what you're going to get. I wish there's a way to hide this since I want to focus more on these guys, but anyway, let's take a look at what we got. So, we do have a little early game, 2 copies of Diregraph Ghoul. 1 mana for a 2/2 is quite good. It comes in a play tap, so there's a little disadvantage, but it's still pretty great. Usually, you do expect a disadvantage, and this one's not so bad. Comes with a little combat trick and Skullduggery, so this is a neat little trick. Zombies often go into combat, so this is the way things are gonna go. Then we go on to our 2 drops. So we got 3 copies of Walking Corpse. This is more normal fare, actually very common fare. 2 power, 2 toughness creature for 2 mana. We got Doom Dissenter, which is a little better. Sure, it's 1/1, but when it dies, and it's probably gonna die a lot, it comes with its own 2/2 zombie creature token. So we're starting to see a theme here. These zombies are going to be supplemented by this guy, the Death Baron. This guy's a really neat reprint back from Alara. So what this guy does is all your zombies get +1/+1. Your skeletons also get +1/+1, and more importantly, they get Death Touch. So what happens here is they're going to trade at least. You're going to take out their creature regardless of size with Death Touch. Well, they're indestructible, but that's another story. So there are no skeletons here, but having the skeleton rider is something to consider. We also got a neat team of death here. So Deathbloom Talid, treat to cast for a 3/2. When it dies, it comes with a 1/1 green sapperling creature token. So we get a little value off the death of our creatures. But one thing to note is that this deck does not have a sacrifice engine. Okay, got some copies of Hired Blade. This is a cheap surprise removal. It's also a decent surprise creature in draft. Not sure how well he'll hold up in constructed. We got Sky March Bloodletter, so 3 to cast for a 2/2 flyer. It's decent rate for limited, and he hits the opponent a little bit when he comes into play. So drains them for 1. We get a little back. We're also thankful that we get 3 copies of Murder, basically unconditional removal for 3 mana at instant speed. Can't ask for anything more. We have 2 copies of Gravedigger, also a zombie, gets a creature back from our graveyard, so pretty good. Not so good is Infectious Horror, 4 to cast for a 2/2 also, but when it attacks, each opponent loses 2 life. We only get a little benefit from this guy when he attacks, so he more like an it when it attacks. So this one tends to be more frowned upon. Gravedigger, at the very least, even if it doesn't get the attack, usually we'll get something back. There's some advantage, so there's a little more immediate advantage that way. Straggling Spores, -3/-3 until end of turn for 4 mana. Bit expensive. Probably would just want to replace it with more murders, I guess. 1 copy of Yargle, Glutton of Urborg. I guess this guy's here just for the memes. You could call this guy the Tachanka of Magic, I suppose, if you play Rainbow Six Siege. Wonder what other meme characters are there in other games. I not not quite so familiar with those. Anyway, so Vampire Sovereign, decent flyer, sort of 3/4 flyer for 5 mana, but drains for 3, so it's quite good in itself. The one thing I'm considering is this is a very aggressive deck, but any tribal synergy is a bit all over the place. It's nice to have a little evasive threats, but we'll see what else we can do with this. We're going to test out, see which parts works, which parts doesn't work. Got a single copy of Rise from the Grave. Basically makes a zombie out of any creature in any graveyard, including our opponent, so that's great. Got a copy of Open the Graves for 5 mana. Whenever a non-token creature we control dies, gives us a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So good way to take advantage of our creatures dying. Got Gravewalker, also a good way to take advantage of our creatures dying. It's also a 5/5 flyer for 6, so quite decent as a top end in itself. Also got a copy of Meteor Golem. Wait, is this 6? Yeah, this is... They put the 6 and the 7 together. I guess that's how much space they have here. Anyway, so a little on the higher end. 7 mana Meteor Golem. 7 mana for 3/3 creature is not great, but it destroying a non-land permanent an opponent controls, that's great. Now, if only we can justify the cost in this deck. I could see this guy in other decks, but he is interesting. He is interesting to reanimate with Rise from the Grave, Gravewalker. So here, and basic idea of these kinds of decks is that they give you a lot of pieces, but they don't build up the synergies right away. That's for you to figure out. So the purpose of this run here is to see how can we make this deck better. We're not going to go all the way with this deck for certain, especially with developed meta. I don't expect us to go that far, but at least Quick Construct is only 500, so we'll see how far we get here. So yeah, we're gonna send the Graveyard Bash to the Slaughter, that without any, basically stand up without a net. That's actually Quick Constructed without the net, just going in stock. I'm actually considering how are we going to explain the white deck, considering that several of its cards are arena exclusives. Those are probably going to be the first ones to go. So shout out to our viewers, especially shout out to Krishna, one of the first one of my first subscribers to actually say hello and talk back, greet me. Not only that, gave me a lot of feedback. Generally about volume stuff, but that's not so bad. Well, unlike now, that's quite bad. We just lost a copy of our removal spell, so we're probably gonna be in a world of hurt. At least we got a turn 2 to a turn 3 threat, and yeah, congratulations. You now know that I'm cursed with being land flooded. So let's play our Walking Corpse. Another possibility, the more I think of it, we don't have to stick to the zombie team. Especially if I were to redo this deck to make be rotation safe. I did it once, kept most of the zombie team, added little skeletons because of Death Baron. It's not quite happy with it. One thing I suppose we can do is just convert it to a zombie tribal deck into just a straight up control deck. Now, okay, at least we got something to play in turn 4, so at least we're not that dead in the water. Another thing we can probably tweak is the mana base. We can aim for... See if we can reduce the number of lands. That if we go for a tribal deck, we kind of want to shunt everything and as 1 drops to maybe 4 drops at most. Single copy of the Gravewalker maybe. Opponent's not playing much, so we're going to go in. And Strangling is an instant at least. Okay, so we got that in mind. So we caught up. We're almost catching up in damage, despite the fact our opponent's gaining life. Our opponent getting rid of our 1 removal spell. He's gonna destroy that, so we're now left with a 1/1. That's perfectly fine, I suppose. Our opponent's also playing not quite a stock deck, but it's not quite a tuned deck either. Since he's nickel and diming us for 1, I'm going to hold on to the Strangling Spores until we get something that we absolutely need to remove. So I'm kind of waiting for our opponent to go a little bit shields down, cast Gravewalker. I'm expecting a removal spell in the flavor of Daring Demolition and whatnot. Okay, at least we have cards to discard. That's the good news. Shame. Or I could just take the damage. Let's see. Okay. So we're gonna lose a lot of life here. Let's see if we can get away. Or okay. I want to cast Strangling Spores now. Actually, no. I'm not. So we're gonna discard. We're gonna discard the land. We're gonna have to cast Gravewalker. Oh, look, another land. And considering this, I am going to hold on to Strangling Spores. I'm probably gonna ditch that. Rebuy the Deathbloom Talid. Or not. At least that got that out of the way. So we can safely ditch the other land now. So we don't need to play much anymore. Okay, we're gonna play this creature. Next turn we're gonna sacrifice the Saproling. So opponent has a decidedly much better deck. He's probably wondering, why is he paired off against this guy who's running a stock deck? Well, it's for science. How did they do that for us? Science! Science! Science. I have no idea. So, opponent still has plenty of gas. We've been the one in the back end. Well, we did play 2 more lands, and we kind of drew a bunch more along the way. X equals 2. So, okay, lose 3 life, lose 3 life. So he's not waiting. So we're gonna go down quite a bit. We're gonna catch up. Gonna resolve. Sacrifice Saproling, because we can now hit him for 4 a turn. Okay, combat, attack. So what we can do now is actually hold on to the Strangling Spores. We can just ditch the Meteor Golem next turn. Or we can ditch the Strangling Spores, hope to get land 7, Meteor Golem, the Torment of Scarabs. Painful Lesson, sure. Actually, I appreciate if you let me draw cards. Well, he's hurting for lands in this case, so it's kind of the opposite of me. Good question. What do I want to just say? Okay, I have to... Okay, given that situation, I have to hold on to Strangling Spores. Hope for a 7th land. Or a creature. Something. Because I'm about to ditch the Strangling Spores now. Okay, that wasn't it. I suppose I can cast that. Then ditch Meteor Golem, but... Actually, depends. If our opponent destroys Diregraph Ghoul, I'm just gonna take the life that... Okay. So I'm gonna take the life loss here. Yep. We can murder him, but we're gonna lose anyway. Yeah, that's good game. We needed to drop Meteor Golem. So the Torment of Scarabs did a number on us. I guess this is another direction we can take mono black control. Especially some decks cannot deal with this. Well, all our opponent has to do is pass the turn. We got nothing. Well, he finally got his lands though. Yeah, that was a bit of an ignoble end. So already we're seeing some weaknesses here, though probably the biggest weakness was the keep I made. That was a snap keep that probably should have been sent back. And our opponent had it in for us. He just kept hitting us with one single creature. It was very consistent that way. It's actually an interesting take. Basically, that is a very good mono black control flavor. You're not reliant on creatures. You can even use your opponent's creatures against him. It's really about controlling resources. Now, generally, this flavor of control tends to be paired up with blue, but that doesn't make mono black impossible. So this is a much better one. We have some early plays in turn 2. If not such a great loss if we get hit by Duress turn 1. So what we play next is going to be dependent on what our opponent plays. So I'm just going to play Walking Corpse. Now playing a Death Baron might be a bit unnecessary. I might not be in a rush to do that. Okay, I take it back. I'm gonna play it now. Because all zombies gain menace until end of turn. Actually, we'll see if we can try to lure him with Hired Blade. Well, it's actually you can see it from a mile away. Let's just swing with the Walking Corpse for now. He's gonna have to auto deal with this, which is a bit annoying, but it will slow him down. Oh, he's got his own Death Baron. Now we can trade if we want to. Well, no, we can't trade. He's gonna swing for a tree, so I'm gonna swing into this guy for a tree. So no blocks. This is gonna be interesting. Actually, gonna hold back. He's going to combat, attack. Yeah. There's no... Okay, at least in this way, our opponent has no reason to hold back his Death Baron. Now, it'll be annoying if he has yet another Lord. So, because that will blank our Hired Blade. Okay, this one's not so bad. Target creature gets -X, so he will kill our Death Baron. So it's a bit of a shame. Yeah, at least we didn't play into our another Death Baron, so we'll hit that. He's gonna swing. We're gonna trade. Yes, he probably should have attacked with both. I could have only dealt with one. It was unlikely I was going to deal with both. So now I could use some more mana, but first things first, I'm going to get rid of Liliana Untouched by Death. Definitely she's a one-off copy if we're going to go zombie aggro. Okay, he's going to sacrifice his Lord, which is perfectly fine. So now our opponent has to rebuild this board. And I am waiting for one more mana to hit Rise from the Grave. You know, I actually forgot about this card when I was doing the deck, so probably gonna hit this one up.
Well, they aren't useful to me alive.
So we're not there yet, we're still stranded. So gonna go into combat. I'm going to force the trade. Drop a Death Bloom Talent. Graveyard Marshal would be nice to get back. Okay, now we're in a bit of a pickle because our opponent's zombies are bigger than ours. We could potentially make ours bigger, except we don't have much in the way of zombies anymore.
They're overwhelming, aren't they?
So we'll take that hit. Could really use... Okay, that spell came a little bit late. Okay, if I were to rise from the grave, what would I rise? Graveyard Marshal. We can start making zombies again. Lord of the Accursed. So, K2. I think the best bet is for us to hold back. Buy ourselves some time. Now, there is no Death Baron, so we can actually profitably trade. Well, not profitably, it's not great, but it's still a 1-for-1 trade. Yeah, we can still trade 1-for-1. Yes, we can still trade 1-for-1, but this is becoming really bad for us. Opponent got all the gas while we don't. So, we have no choice but to chuck these guys in the meat grinder. And we're actually going to lose both of these guys because of the Lord of these guys pumping up stuff. So we stalled on mana, that was our problem, but... So let's see, Doom the Center. So we're in a rush to... Well, technically this is a lost game, we just don't have enough blockers. So... As we can see, this is what happens when we don't go all in on the tribal team. A deck that has a better tribal situation will overrun us. So that's actually a lot worse. It's basically our second loss, but got a little gold there, right? So, but this is basically how do we call this? This is basically a teaching tool of what it takes to build the deck. How not to expect these stock decks to go well into constructed. You really should start these guys out in free play. But a good way to illustrate what are the weaknesses. How do we improve these decks? So now that I think of it, I originally did 2 flavors, but I'm going to again stick with the 2 flavors, but one flavor is going to be the aggro flavor. That's the non-rotation safe because most of the good zombies are in Amonkhet. And the rotation safe one is going to be more controlling. So we're going to try this one again. We could use a few more lands. So if we go the aggro route, we want to concentrate all our plays early. If we go the control route, we can concentrate our plays later. And here we have an opponent that's actually playing with a stock deck. So I'm gonna actually play Doom the Center here. He'll absorb 1 hit, especially if our opponent gets to explore. And then, based on how big Wild Growth Walker gets, it's either gonna be a Murder or a Hired Blade. Okay, that looks like Hired. I'm probably gonna hold back, swing. Okay, no, he's holding back too. So no point surprising it. We're just gonna hold the Death Bloom Talent back. So I seriously doubt he's gonna swing though. So we're gonna let him scry once. We'll probably just murder the Wild Growth Walker. As you can see, Hired Blade was actually supposed to play a removal spell role, but not quite working out. So we're gonna see if our opponent actually offers the trade or not. Ooh. This really is, well, not quite stock deck, because there's a Life Crafter's Bestiary. Let's see what he does. Okay, not foolish. He didn't offer the trade. So I'm just gonna murder this guy. Swing in with Deathbloom Talid. Yep, trade is kind of correct considering he probably has more gas than I do at this point. Another mana would be great so he could start chaining our Gravediggers. So let's see. We managed to deal with. Oh, he actually ditched it. Endless Sands. This takes care of creatures. This is. Okay, when it attacks, excel at the end of combat. Okay, so first we're gonna. Okay. No need to hold back for Hired Blade. I don't think we're gonna cheat anyone out. So we're gonna Gravedigger our Deathbloom Talid, get him back. If we can get one more land, we can drop Deathbloom Talid, Walking Corpse. We actually have to drop the, or we can just drop Yargle. So looking at the situation, our opponent kind of just put all the rares together. It's actually quite possible our opponent doesn't have the full stock Woodland Golgari Exploration deck list. Okay. If he has a combo, I want to see it. Looks interesting. So first I'm gonna swing with everybody. Surprise me. Okay, so play the expected card. So right now our opponent's trying to have a combo deck, but as it is, it looks like this deck is even more diluted than the stock deck. Okay, at least he got Jade Light Ranger. So animation module will actually produce a bunch of servos. So okay, so he revealed 2. He may pay 1. He definitely will. Okay. So we will be making some trades here. Perfectly fine. So he can't crew. Oh, he can crew it. So he's actually building up a really big creature. In fact, he's probably going to get the Conqueror's Galleon altogether. Okay, he's going to get exiled at end of combat, so there's nothing I can do to prevent the transformation. So, no blocks. He's going to get himself a land. So we're still hurting in the mana base, but we're gonna keep swinging for defenses anyway. I could try to surprise. Actually, I haven't played mana in 2 turns, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually gonna hold the mana up. I've set sort of a precedent. So I could hope to ambush the Jade Light Ranger before he gets too big. Alternately, I can just cast Gravedigger now. No, let's just end the turn. So we'll see what our opponent does. If he tries to because currently we're the beatdown, and I don't think our opponent has a way to sweep the board. He does have a... I will have to double block because if he holds up 3 mana, he can make this a 5/4. So I have to keep that in mind. Yeah, it's a good thing I took a while to gave myself some time to read the card. Fort Bridge Prowler, you may have target creature, so I'm gonna lose this effect. Okay. So I have no... So here I'm actually hoping our opponent taps out, or at least gets to the point where he doesn't have that much mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so he's not gonna have the... Okay, he's not gonna have the mana to activate animation module. So he might be in for a surprise, I guess, unless he has some 1 mana explore creature. There is a 1 mana explore creature, I think. Walking Ballista X0. Okay, he's drawing a card. It's actually a nice cycle. Cycle for 1. Why did my timeout get used? Okay, fine. So be it. He's not even attacking. Okay, fine. I'll show him. I'm also gonna show him how I'm just gonna go through the air. So at this point, there's really no need for me to attack, though. I guess it's a way to say that it's coming from a mile away. So our opponent does have the mana to start buying things back. So he can buy back his Walking Ballista. So our aim right now is just to keep hitting top. Yeah. So he's buying that back. I think he's just gonna keep cycling cards. Okay, he's not gonna cycle that. I'm gonna play this land because we could eventually draw into the Grave Spirit. So we're going to put our opponent in a position where he has to answer both our flyers. So, and the interesting thing is we still have our Gravedigger. Wild Growth Walker, he can try to regain some health, I guess. So that's pretty much his goal. So overall, how do I rate the how did I rate the exploration deck? Not so great. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I did not see any I didn't see any multiples. Could this have been a singleton deck that was mistakenly placed here? Okay, so he's gonna get the Explorer. Turns out I'm wrong. It's actually 2. So he's going to off one of my creatures. Okay, going to combat. And sorry, that's a nasty surprise. Okay, so we managed to get 1 win. Not the greatest of wins, but it's a good way to teach the example of you can't just jam all the rares in the deck and expect to come out on top. So let's see, still got plenty of time. So I'm gonna go for 1 more match at least. Let's see, maybe I can get better. Maybe I run into, well, I guess I could run into another player with that deck style, but it's not gonna be that. No, it's gonna be definitely informative. Probably not that interesting. I think people watch the show to hopefully see me do well against good decks, or do horribly badly against Dudex as an I told you so moment. So at least we got a turn 2 into a turn 3. Well, we did have a turn 3 play, but I kind of wanted to hold Hired Blade back. So our opponent seems to be mono green. Naga Vitalist. I could just murder it. Now I'm going to cast Skymarch Bloodletter. I'm going to start putting pressure. Traditionally, green doesn't have any threats in the air. They do have creatures with reach. At least I can answer one of them. I could but I would like to get one more mana to at least get the Infectious Horror. Trashing Brontodon. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Opponent's not going to swing with the Vitalist. Got the land we asked for, so I'm going to play the Infectious Horror. So I'm going to swing with the air. So basically this is going to be a demonstration of how not so great the Infectious Horror is. This guy would have been slightly better if it was just +2 plus gets +2 plus 0 until end of turn. Okay. I can soak the damage right now. I don't have to toss Doom Dissenter in. Actually, no, let's just toss it in front. Because basically, upgrading him into a better creature's the part of the play. Then now we have no choice but to murder Gigantosaurus. And we're gonna swing for the fences. Now, I said that Infectious Horror was generally a bad creature, but even bad creatures, you still have to give some I wouldn't say give some respect, but you still have to be wary of the abilities they have. Now, this one we have to give some respect. So at least we got Strangling Spores for that. Branch Walker. Okay. That pretty much guarantees that our opponent's gonna hold these guys. He's gonna swing with one guy, hold these guys back. No, he doesn't have to. Oh wait. So he can swing with Trashing Brontodon. He can hold these guys back. Oh, he's gonna hold them back anyway. Okay. So gonna go into combat, gonna attack. He's respecting the board. Now he's respecting Infectious Horror. So he's gonna crew. And okay, make sure this is an instant. Yeah, that's an instant, so we're gonna resolve that. Okay, gonna wait for him to block. I think now normally that's so on board that it's very suspicious. Most players would rather just take the hit if they could do something about the Skymarch Bloodletter in any other way. So most likely our opponent has no other way to deal with it, so he had to just go for it. Right now we have no way to deal with Steel Leaf, so well, we can throw a roadblock in. That's Baron would be nice though. So we're in a position where we can actually just afford to take the damage. Yeah, let's just take the damage. So not much yet. I can just play the Walking Corpse, but that will guarantee this guy attacks. So I'm just gonna keep holding back because it's really obvious that I am having mana troubles. What's not obvious is that I have a flash creature. Flash is non-traditional for black. So we're gonna see how our opponent sends the Troop Boys in. I'll definitely trade with the Branch Walker now. In fact, I'm probably willing to trade one of these guys for the Trashing Brontodon. Or I can just take trade with... Okay, first let's throw in our roadblock. Or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. He's representing a potential blocker. So I can willingly take 8. Okay, let's just take the 8. It's a bit scary, but we have walking corpse, worst case scenario. Okay, we got murder, so actually, if I swing with these guys, it represents lethal. He will have to block and have a combat trick. If he just double blocks, I'm gonna respect the double block. Because just swinging with Infectious Horror next turn is enough to kill it. It's gonna take the Druid out. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, so he's now gonna have to have a pump spell, which is not impossible. This is basically a coin flip moment where I could easily lose the game. Hindsight, there was really no need to swing with the Hired Blade. Let's see. Does he have the Titanic Growth? Okay, probably doesn't. So I'm just gonna swing with Infectious Horror. Let the triggered ability give me the win, or combat. Yeah, this is let the triggered ability do it. Okay, so we got a little better. This is a different kind of flavor I could do. Basically, depend on massive life loss. But it's not exactly the easiest one to build around. For one, it'd be nice if we could give these creatures some sort of evasion. At least the Skymarch Bloodletter has flying, but that just makes it better for a vampire style deck. Even that, or even just white-black token generation deck using Crested Sunmare. Or even the new stuff. Actually, with Core 2019, there's a lot of... We can do a lot of things with them life gain now. So we got Doomed Dissenters, but no actual zombies. So we're going to trade these guys off early, then drop the Baron. At least we got the mana to do this guy. Okay, so... This is a bonafide mono-red aggro deck. We're not gonna make it. Especially if we draw very expensive cards. Nice thing is that our opponent has to spend multiple mana to deal with these guys. Yikes. Oh, I could have used you earlier. Okay, no choice. I'm gonna have to drop the Doom Dissenter. Then Womat Courier has to respect this guy, or try to burn him out. Goblin Chain Whirler incoming. So next turn is gonna be Doom Dissenter, Diregraph Ghoul. If I don't draw anything better, Death Baron will supplement the team. I'm gonna try to trade out these guys first. So I'm gonna trade. Take the 3 damage. Our opponent might have a pump spell or sorts. I probably would have just cast the remove. Ah no, he can't cast the removal spells first because he would now have to deal with a blocker. That's perfectly fine. So we're gonna do this charade all over again. So we may not be that interested in taking advantage of life drain, but I am more interested in taking advantage of creating token creation effects. So yeah, let's not attack. Let's see if we can dissuade or force our opponent to use up some of his burn. Basically, the more we can get rid of early, the better. Also because it helps set up our Death Baron. Ooh, that's interesting. So I'm definitely gonna... Okay, Pyromantic Pilgrim. This one's from the Welcome deck, if I'm not mistaken. So I definitely will trade. So we're losing quite a bit of life, but not so much to be that worrisome. Not yet, anyway. But it does mean I still have to hold guys back. So next turn, we can drop our Death Baron. And our opponent's eventually gonna have to sacrifice his Bomat Courier to draw into new cards. He needs the gas right now. He can afford to swing once, I guess. So I'm actually gonna hold these guys back. So opponent's gonna get max value from Bomat Courier. Can't do anything about that. He's got another Bomat Courier to start it all over again. So let's see. We will double block carry Zev. Okay, so yeah, which is why I held these guys back. So now we're gonna see how our opponent does with the refilled deck. See if he'll probably take out Death Baron first. That's the very first target. So at least we got Vampire Sovereign to now finally start the beatdown. I'm still not convinced we're gonna ever cast Meteor Golem. Okay. Okay, so this time I'm actually gonna send these two guys in. Let's see if that encourages him to use one of his burn spells on the Death Baron now. Nope. Okay. So no need to hide. You can cast Vampire Sovereign. So we managed to play a bit of catch up. Despite all our opponent did, basically thanks to the fact that Doom Dissenters are kind of a bit of a 2-for-1. So Chandra is gonna off either the Dead Baron or the Vampire Sovereign. Most likely the Sovereign. Yep.
Don't you hate that burnt hair
So
smell?
has yet another Bomat Courier. Can swing with both. Will lose one of them. Unbelievable. I'm actually going to... So I'm going to swing them towards Chandra this time. Let's see. So I'm going to split these guys up a bit. So Karisev's gonna get a swing. That's kind of okay. Let's see if we can probably throw a shock in for good measure. Okay, he's gonna give up the Bomat Couriers. So what our opponent has is actually a very tuned deck.
Today's my
Okay.
lucky day.
Ooh, Heart of Kiran. Oh no, he didn't cast it. Rathnu Hellion. Yikes. So I'm gonna take 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not gonna block. Okay, fine. I'll take the 7. But there is a very good chance I'll lose if our opponent has a burn spell. Okay. So... Okay, here comes the question. Okay, let's get rid of the repeatable sources damage first.
Nobody tells me what to do.
Okay. And then we will... take care of that guy. Opponents, I would... So yeah, some slightly flooded for a mono red aggro deck. We're also slightly flooded for a mono black something something zombies deck. Hey, it worked. So we're gonna take another 3 damage. We're gonna go down to 2. Okay, these things are getting scary now. Okay. So our opponent's down to 1 card. If I block, these guys go down. I have no way to deal with Karisev. If I don't block, I open myself up to a shock or a lightning blast. I'm gonna have to give this guy up. So now... So we have to play the Deathbloom Talid. So... I have to offer a trade of sorts. Now we're in a position of who can catch up first. Still not drawing the gas we need. If we swing with these two, it's not gonna be enough. We're more likely to die, so I'm gonna just end the turn here. That said, okay, opponent is still not playing much. Also still not playing much. So right now we're playing a game of chicken. I actually have no idea if our opponent's literally just stranded. Okay. So this one's actually going to be an interesting consideration for the red deck. And now we put ourselves in a... Oh no. Our opponent gets the attack. We didn't draw gas this time, so... This one's a close one, but... Oh well, at least we knew this one could... At least we went kind of toe-to-toe with a mono-red deck. Very well tuned as well. So here's what's gonna happen if we don't do anything. Our opponent swings with these two guys. One monkey is gonna get through. I can split these up. I'll take 1 damage. Okay, you know what? Let's see what happens. And I'll be left with a single 1/1. So right now, my only out is to have removal for Karisev. Run amok. Okay, that does it. Okay, good game. Yeah, we did not draw gas in time. So, actually a little bit more respectable. In fact, I think this game that we lost was a much more respectable finish than well, the second game that we won was okay. The first game that we won, I think, felt a little bit all over the place, but not too shabby. But it does tell us that we cannot just go in blindly with we can't just go in blindly with whatever deck the game gives us. We have to work for it. That's what free play is for. So with that in mind, let's now take a look at how the deck, how are we gonna work on that deck. So I'm gonna start first with the non-tune deck because that is the I'm gonna start with the non-tune deck because that is the aggro deck. So let's make sure. Okay, perfect. So this one is the non-tune deck, so it's not rotation safe. Okay, so I left a little note for myself on how to fix it. We're gonna fix that now. So first, Scrap Heap Scrounger and Fatal Push. So I'm actually gonna, so with that in mind, I'm gonna actually dump a lot of our control elements into the sideboard. So Eldest Reborn goes there. We can probably ditch the Doomfall. Probably just bump up. Wait, where's, okay, Rise from the Graves is probably gonna be our other element. I know. Liliana's Mastery. So that goes here. In fact, that's probably better than Stir the Sand, so I'm gonna ditch those. So what we have here, we're gonna keep the Gravewalker. We're gonna bump up the Fatal Pushes. Let's see, if I drop the Scrap Heap Scrounger, Festering Mummy is the weaker one. Miasmic Mummy is our kind of reanimation trigger. It's basically what's feeding our Graveyard Marshal, our Gravewalker. Kind of want Rise from the Grave in that way. So I'll just put one copy here. Guess I can ditch one copy of Duress for that. For a second one here. So and we're going, okay, they're gonna look at the Jackals because there's really one zombie Jackal that yeah, Dread Wanderer. There's really, since we're not playing rotation safe, there's no reason for this guy not to be in. In fact, I'm gonna drop the Festering Mummies in favor of the Dread Wanderers. And if you could afford it, you can actually flip the numbers between Diregraph Ghoul and Dread Wanderer. So in fact, I could probably just cut this guy down to 2, then just up the Fatal Push to 4. So we have much better removal. Okay, so I'm gonna rename this one into Graveyard Bash 2.0. We're gonna rename this as Graveyard Bash Tribal. Then I still skip the Scrap Heap Scroungers. Probably should put those guys in. So that's, but we do have plenty of zombies here. So if ever, I don't see a real reason for us to skimp some of these guys. I guess what we can do is we could cut the Miasmic Mummy for Scrap Heap Scroungers. That's a lot better. That's something you guys could do on your own time. Basically, you can figure that out a bit. Also, another thing I probably want to do is cut the 2 Field of Ruins. Replace them with 2 copies of Dunes of the Dead. Now you're probably saying, how are you gonna sacrifice those? Why with If Near Deadlands? At least probably 3 to 4 copies of this. You can replace some of your swamps that way. So we have a removal package that's also on your land base. It's a bit expensive, but you have a way to generate more creatures. So let's analyze this one. If I remember correctly, I brought the land count to 24. Yep, that's about right. I felt like I was really flooding badly there. So, okay, with that in mind, I should have curiosity. How expensive is this deck? Okay, definitely a lot more expensive with some of the added stuff. Liliana's Mastery is probably really pricey. But that's kind of what it takes to build a zombies deck. Yeah, well, not that expensive. It turns out the most expensive card are the copies of Fatal Push. It's a good thing we're doing this in Arena. So that would be this version of the non-rotation safe Graveyard Bash tribal deck. So let's add one more note. Let's add one more note. What kind of tribal is this? Zombie tribal. And there are also zombie tokens. So I'm gonna definitely update that video note here. Then we're gonna take a look at our other Graveyard Bash deck. This one is the one I'm not so happy with. We still have a good number of creatures, but kinda forcing our way through it. Again, let's make those some few. Actually, no, we don't have to make much in those changes. Again, because we are going rotation safe. Liliana's Mastery is Amonkhet, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Amonkhet, so not gonna show up here. And let's take a look at some of the cards I'm not too happy with. One, if we're gonna do this deck, I actually think we probably should make this more control, so I think the Gravediggers go. The Stitcher Suppliers go. Torgar goes. Reassembling Skeletons stay. They are a very good combo with Death Baron. Graveyard Marshal. I guess we can maintain that. We can maintain that shell, but we're going to move the Eldest Reborns to the main board. Add a copy of Rise from the Grave. We got Murders. No cast downs. Oh wait. We will put Vicious Offerings in here. So that then we're gonna actually return Torment. Actually, made a mistake here. Doomfall is Amonkhet. This is not supposed. Our Devastation, be more precise. That's not supposed to be there. So let's fix that sideboard. Let's check. Despise. No. Oh, is it Despise or Divest? Okay, Divest. What does this do? Artifact or creature card. Not quite Duress. I guess we can put one or two copies of it in. We kind of are looking for a way to get some sort of discard, or actually no, we want some sort of card draw. Because we're squeezing our advantage out of these Doom Dissenters and reassembling Skeletons. In fact, I won't be too surprised if we probably should just bring this back up to 25 lands. It's also our mana base is higher. Yeah, I'm gonna bring this back up to 25. So reassembling Skeleton. Okay, one more Field of Ruin. Demon of Catastrophes, interesting one. Kind of like an experimental one-off. I'm gonna put it in the sideboard. And let's see. So what? So we need other forms of control. Some sort of we have Vraska's Contempt. I guess more copies of that would be one way around it. Oh, there's another thing we can do. Sure, we seem to have an okay, treasure map. So what we can do is actually put 2 copies of treasure map here. Then we can basically, because card draw is a little bit of a weakness here, so we're gonna fix that a little bit. If that's the case, I'm gonna move the Vicious Offerings down to the sideboard. So if ever we have a need for removal, we side a lot of these in if we expect a harder aggro, or if we feel like our own aggro package is not so great. So this is more of Graveyard Bash, Tribal Control. So this version is rotation safe, that's for certain. So we now have 2 different flavors of how to proceed with the Graveyard Bash. And if we want to drop the zombie package altogether, we can do a mono black control. I don't know if we can do it rotation safe. I still think if we're not going rotation safe, you're better off just keeping the zombie package and just going mostly in on the zombies. But that's it. That's it for this redone run. And okay, we actually made it to our hour of sorts. So that's it for this episode. This redone episode of the Magic Arena Run. If you like what you see, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to spend my time to do the actual videos. I think I'll do the mono red deck next. Anyway, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you guys again next time. Wait. There you go. There you go. That's it. Proper splash screen. Thank you very much.